I'm just going to let it go so you start when you're ready.
Okay. I'm going to use that bowl, actually, if that's okay.
Just don't throw away my phone.
Okay. Washed the spoon so many times and it's like it got stained that way. Okay, people. I'm going to go now, so don't talk, please. All right, you ready? Welcome to my kitchen. This is the... Nope. New start. Welcome to my kitchen. I am Angela, and this is my kitchen, actually. And this series is called Prevention in My Kitchen, where you come into my kitchen, and as a family strengthening and prevention expert, I give you one skill that you can use as a family so that you can connect stronger as a family. Today we're talking about something really interesting, actually, chores. So one of the things I always do in Prevention in My Kitchen is I always cook something for you, which is funny because I don't cook that much at home. But today, while I'm talking about why chores matter to kids and to families, I'm actually going to make dog biscuits for my dog, who's around here somewhere. I don't know. Once she figures out what exactly I'm doing, I'm sure she'll come running over. But I'm just going to make some doggo biscuits so that she has something to chew on this week. Okay, let's talk about prevention in my kitchen and why chores matter. So this isn't interesting because a lot of times in families, you know that moment when you say to your kid, when you like want them to do something around the house and you say to them like, hey, you know, you live here too. And they look at you like they've been thinking they were in an Airbnb this entire time. Yeah, we've all been there. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is how do we not only keep the house clean, which is what we all care about as parents, but how do we build responsibility in our kids and teens? Because one of the things that we always have to think about as we're raising our kids is we're not just trying to raise our children, we're actually raising adults. And some of the skills that they are going to need in the rest of their lives are actually formed at home. So we're going to talk about how chores actually build responsibility and contribution in the home. But in terms of what we want our kids to do or to learn, we have to be able to work with them when they are moldable so that we can get them to learn what chores are, how do they do them, how does that make them a functioning member of society. And of course, some of the things I wanted to share with you, one of my favorite studies, let me read this to you, because this I actually printed out. I see this all the time in the research, but I wanted to share this with you. Listen to this. Long-term developmental studies show that kids who regularly participate in household tasks develop a stronger work ethic, we want that, empathy, we want that, and confidence because they see themselves as contributing members of the family. So the next time your kid says, I don't want to empty the dishwasher, then you can just say, don't you want to be this person? Okay, so what do they actually learn though from chores? I better get to moving here or else this dog is never going to get that. Please hold while I turn on the oven. So the question becomes, what do kids actually get from chores? Well, the answer to that is they have to learn skills like showing up when you don't feel like it, doing the work instead of the fun, so that when the fun comes, the work has already been done. They have to learn those as skills. So how do you learn those as skills? Well, we teach them that as parenting adults. Now, there is a great study that actually showed that kids who performed chores in childhood, I'm trying to get the peanut butter out. Kids who perform, you know, some of you actually probably would tell me to spray the spoon in advance, but you know what? You weren't here, so there's that. So listen to this. I want to read this piece to you. I love this piece. Children who performed chores earlier in childhood later showed higher self-confidence, pro-social behavior, and self-efficacy. All right, so you're saying, fine, Angela, I'm convinced. That's great. I want my kids to think that they're capable, right? But here's the thing. As parents, we know that our kids struggle with chores Because we struggle with their chores. How many times have you said, okay, listen, I've seen how you load the dishwasher, and instead of doing it the way you do it, think art project, I really want the bowls to be the right way and the cups to be upside down so the actual dishes get done. But the truth is that when kids get into their adult lives, the laundry doesn't magically fold itself at 18. These are skills that they have to develop. So we have to help them develop them, which means we sometimes are going to have to make them toe the line. So what do? Well, you maybe have to start small. Maybe what you do is you say, all right, by the way, it doesn't take you don't have to have all of their chores laid out ahead of them for the rest of their lives while they're at home. It could just be a small chore. Feed the dog, empty the dishwasher, pick up the clothes from your floor, whatever that is. It's not the size of the chore so much, friends. It's the consistency of doing it. So we have to decide that we're going to be consistent and then that they're going to be consistent. By the way, the dog is very excited about these because I said to the dog, if you will leave me alone while I'm filming, I'll give you all of the spoons to lick, but she's gone, so she can't have that one. So the other thing that it does, and here's what I'll tell you about chores. The other thing that it does is it helps them to believe that they can solve problems. And we want that. We want them to believe that they can solve problems. So I'm sure I've convinced you, okay, it's important for us to have our kids do the chores, but how do we do it? Ah, look at that. I had exactly the right amount of peanut butter. Perfect. Well, the bottom line on getting them to do chores is any way you can get them to do it is the way you should get them to do it. What does that mean? Well, that means that if as a family, please hold, if as a family you are able, pause there. Sorry, I have to get my thoughts together.
You're good.
Okay, so then how do you get them to do the work? Well, the bottom line is you have to decide as a family how you get that done. So for example, maybe as a family, you are good at having family meetings where you sit down as a family, you lay out a chore chart, you have them check it off. The younger they are, the earlier you get this started, the better it will be for you over time because they'll understand. And by the way, even at the youngest of ages, they'll understand, oh, I'm important to the equation of my home. I am a giver in our home. I'm a part of making sure that the home is functioning and running properly. So you start to check off the chores with them. They understand that it's part of who they are. Let's say you didn't do that. By the way, it's always fun to give them a check mark or give them stickers for that or whatever. Some people actually pay an allowance. Totally up to you. The point is what will work for your family is what will work. So however you do it, I mean, seriously, friends, you can literally just Google chore charts for whatever ages. And then you sit as a family and however you've decided. If your kids are older, you sit with them and you say, look, there are chores in this house. They have to get done. I am confident that you can do it. We need you to do it. Not only do you need to learn the responsibility of being able to do it, but it's important for us as a family that you contribute. We don't take, we give. It's a give and take in our home. So you sit with them and you say, what are some chores that you might be able to do? What would they look like? And what would you need in order for us to be able to get you the mastery over those chores? Now, I'll give you a couple of quick tips. Tip number one. Let's say, for example, you have a younger child. Well, some things that you could do, you can take pictures of what you want done. So if you say, for example, as one of your chores, I want you to make your bed every day. Well, sometimes it's hard for them to translate what we mean by make your bed. You know what I'm saying? So you can actually go in with them the first time you want to do it. This, by the way, you can do at any age. You want to go in with them the first time they do it, and you want to show them how to do it. So if you have a standard that you want them to do, go in and show them what the standard is. And then if they're younger, for example, you could take a picture. And so when you go to take a picture, you will show them, you can actually just put that picture, just print it out and put it at the head of the bed or someplace in the room that they can see it. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, this is what I expect. This is what it would look like. So they have a frame of reference. Now that actually, by the way, not just that you have to have the picture, that idea of walking with them and showing them how to do it, that actually can happen well into their teen years. One of our kids, one time years ago, I said it was her job to do the bathroom. She was supposed to clean the bathroom that week. We took turns doing that. And, oh, sounds like the oven's ready. Anyway, she was cleaning the bathroom and I kept going in there thinking, why is the tub still dirty? The tub was still dirty. And I got really angry at her because I thought she was taking shortcuts. And why wouldn't you clean the tub? Your job is the bathroom. And I went into her room and I said, why aren't you finishing the job? Your job is the bathroom. Why aren't you finishing the job? And she got really frustrated with me because she said, I don't understand. Why do you keep telling me that I'm not doing this job correctly? Can you show me what you want? Okay. So I walk her in the bathroom. I showed her where the tub was dirty. And she looked at me completely perplexed. And she said, when you said clean the bathroom, I thought you meant put everything away that had been out. And, you know, sometimes kids will say things like that and you're like, really? But she was being genuine. And so when I showed her what I meant by clean the bathroom and that it actually meant for her to go and take all of the things and put it away, wipe down the counters, clean the toilet, clean the tub. First of all, how long had she been doing that? None of that got done. But now we had a frame of reference. So if you have to walk them in there and show them the first time, do it kindly so that they can see, and then go in and check their work after that so that you're building mastery. Trust me, you know who's going to care? Their future roommates, their future spouses, the other people they have to live with. They will be so grateful to you that you did that. So if you try any of this, if you decide, okay, I'm gonna try chores, we'd love to hear about how it went for you. Please post on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also go to our deltaprevention.org website, deltaprevention.org, where we actually have uploaded some charts that will help you. We do this in our Strengthening Families classes, but they're chore charts, and those chore charts will actually help you, especially with your youngers, to have a fun way to get started. All right, friends, these are not for my consumption, but the dog will be happy we did it. Thanks for hanging out with me while I made my dog biscuits, and I'm going to have her come over and lick the spoon. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Pause. Good job, girl.